Warning: this program may contain explicit language that may be considered offensive or inappropriate to children and some adults.
The following content is intended for mature audiences only.
Well, good evening and welcome to another episode of Talk It Out, where we talk it out. That was my really bad impersonation of Duryea. So if you're wondering where Duryea is, he has prior engagement right now, and he'll be out for a few episodes, but we're going to miss him. He'll be around, for other things as well, but we'll have some guest hosts, starting with me, Ricky Z. If you've seen me or watched anything from Nelly Media, I am one of the co-panelists on Geeking Out, which airs every other Mondays at 8 p.m. We just had an episode this Monday on teen dramas, which I also hosted. So if you haven't done that yet, you should definitely go check it out. So, Talk It Out. If I can pull it back up. All right, here you go, guys. Talk It Out is a place where people of opposing views get together and have a healthy and productive dialogue in a respectful way. Keeping in mind that it's not always proving who's right and who's wrong. Sometimes it's simply about listening and being heard. All right, so before we get into meeting our panel for today, I want you to make sure that you like and subscribe and share this video. If you are watching us on Facebook Live, make sure you share it for all your friends to see. If you are watching us on YouTube, make sure you like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We want to get those numbers up for Nelly Media. And also, if you can also find us on Twitch at Gay Damer, Day Gamer. Look, I'm struggling, y'all, but hey, we're here to have fun. Okay, so before we meet our panelists, I'm gonna do a quick commercial break.
Director of the show, and I'm so excited to be opening the show this Saturday. It's our first children's theater production in our outdoor theater festival, and it is a hilarious show. It's an adaptation from the book of the same title, but the playwright and the composer have done such a wonderful job at complicating the story of using styles from really Broadway shows to influence the kind of style of music in the show. There are beautiful harmonies. And wonderful choreography. It's not just your typical children's theater show. I really think that family audiences are going to enjoy this as well.
All right, so let's get started with introducing our illustrious panel. So we will start with one of our favorite and recurring panelists, Mo Smith, a critical thinker that's too conservative to be liberal and too liberal to be a conservative. And you can check out their social media at Mo Smith Pro. And of course, you have to give a little something to the Cash App at $ Mo Smith Pro. What's up, Mo?
Yes, thank you. Thank you. Thank you all to my adoring fans. Yes, thank you. How are you? How are you, Ricky?
I'm good. I'm supposed to ask how you are. So how are you, Mo?
Okay, honey, I am fabulous. I am doing wonderful. I am in the beautiful city of Lexington, South Carolina, just
Oh.
looking at this beautiful sunset, and also about that army soldier, Mr. Parkland. Packland.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he got arrested for his
Mm-hmm.
that misdemeanor. Yeah, so I'm just feeling fabulous, honey. Justice is being served for once. Yes.
Yes.
Get into it. Become. No,
You can also
I'm
catch
tripping.
Mo every Sunday night at 10 o'clock after Real Housewives of Atlanta and Married to Medicine on our
Yeah.
newest podcast, Sip and Kiki.
Yes,
I'm not on
because
that
it's real
one,
sick.
but yes, I'm not on that one, but you'll find Duria and Tristan there, so that's cool, I guess.
You'll be on there. You will be on there. It's
Oh,
gonna
well,
happen.
that's-
Yes, you will.
look,
Yes.
but the thing is though, like I only gonna be people be on there for like a few minutes because y'all start too late, and that's usually a school night. I gotta go to bed.
Yeah, it is. But hey, summertime is right around the corner, honey.
All right, so next we have Miss T, or AKA Miss Positivity. Miss T is the chief mother of the James tribe, an avid reader, and K-drama enthusiast. Welcome to the show, T.
Hi.
Hi.
What's up, Mom? Ricky.
What up?
Hey. Look, between the three of us, well, we need to get Kiana and Alex back, and we can cut up for an hour or so.
Oh,
And just
we doing that
start
next
some
week?
mess. No, we need to. I'm just gonna keep bugging Duria about that, and we're just gonna do it.
Yeah,
I
she
don't.
should have been on tonight. Well, I guess she wasn't available.
I guess so. We'll have to get on her for that. But how are you
Yeah.
doing, Positivity? The baby just had her first birthday. Happy birthday,
She
baby!
did. She did. Little AJ. She's running around telling people to stop and get
Mm-hmm.
and come get your niece.
Look,
Nope.
I'll.
Nope. I ain't going down to New Mexico for that. No, man.
She drinking almond milk now. She in the cup. She good. She good to go.
She's not potty trained though. She's not potty
Yeah,
trained.
not bad and bougie at one drinking almond milk. Come on.
Well,
Become.
She should.
Become.
I don't know if you met me, but yeah.
Oh my goodness. All right, so let's get to our next panelist. She's been here before, Miss Samantha Harding. So Sam is an Atlanta born and bred with two beautiful daughters. She has an edible business called Marley Bears that focuses on making THC infused gummy bears, and she is also a realtor. She is the go-to agent for the Atlanta real estate market. Before getting to real estate, she was an educator and founded the dance department at a local Atlanta charter school, KIP, Atlanta Collegiate. Besides her interest in cooking, real estate, and dance, she loves the water and is a mermaid at heart. Welcome to the show, Miss Sam.
Thank you, guys. I'm so
Yay.
excited to be here, as always, making a fresh batch of cookies. As we
Yes.
speak.
What kind of cookies, ma'am? What kind of cookies?
Well, they're chocolate chip, but they're infused, obviously.
Okay, so I will give you my address.
Yes, and I've expanded since. I started with gummies, but now I'm doing obviously cookies and cakes and stuff. But what I really want people to know is I do the butter and the sugar. So if you just want to get a jar of infused butter or sugar, let me know.
Okay, so I will hit you up afterwards. Ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So you can find Sam on Instagram at Sam Sells ATL Homes.
Yes.
And at Marley, Marley, Bob Marley, Bears ATL.
Yep.
Yay.
Quick thing. Can you infuse some type of alcohol? Because I
Ooh.
can't
Let me tell you,
stuff.
Mo. Hold on, let me tell you. So I can make simple syrup. So I can infuse the simple syrup, and you can add it to any alcohol or non-alcohol drink. Because it's just sugar water. So you can add it to anything.
I can't because of what I do for a living.
Well, maybe you can't, but so not only do I sell the sugar and the butter, but you can do the simple syrup, and maybe not you, but anyone can.
There's an old-fashioned calling my name with that.
Yes, you can just get the simple syrup and infuse. So that also works as well.
I love it. I love it. I love it.
Just
All
forcing
right.
your agenda on me. I don't like it.
That THC agenda. All right.
I can't do it. Can't touch it.
Just
Yes,
wait till it's
of course.
okay.
Like,
I got you
technically,
when you're ready.
I do not either. I do not touch
Unfortunately,
stuff.
based on what I do for a living, even after it becomes legal, I still can't do it.
Really?
I'm sorry. Yeah.
You know they can't determine between CBD and THC.
Yeah, but per
It
federal
don't matter.
regulations,
Okay.
even if I ingest CBD, it still has traces of THC in it, and if I
Okay.
get popped, I'm still out. So
Got you.
Mm.
I got you.
Yeah.
Well, we don't want to do that. We want to keep you in line.
Right. We want to keep
So,
stuff
right.
out. All right.
Yes.
So Danny was like, "Why do I still feel paranoid talking about all this?" I mean, we still got ways to go.
Okay. Buckle
Right.
up, Buttercup.
So we're gonna get to our next panelist. This is Megan Calgo, Megan Noel. Megan Noel is a stay-at-home mom and teaching artist with experience in playwriting, prop design, stage management, and devised performance. She has a BFA in acting and directing from Columbus State University. Go Cougars! A dinner party enthusiast who loves to make DIY gifts for her friends and family. She recently launched her website, festiveandfrugal.com, and hopes to reach cooks and crafters of all skill levels to build a community in these socially distant times. Check out her step-by-step recipes and the highlights of her Instagram, Christmafish. Welcome to the show, Megan.
Hi, how you doing?
Good. How are you? How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Just still in the routine of pandemic. Gonna get my second shot next Tuesday. I'm excited, and so then a couple more weeks and can see some people. That'd be great.
Right, that would be lovely. So if you guys were here for our 24-hour live stream back in March, Megan actually did a segment for Festive and Frugal. Isn't that right?
Yeah, I did. I got to cook live. It was a lot of fun. Duryea was in on the show, so we had like a good back and forth. And we're hopefully going to be doing it again. I have to talk to him about it, but we're going to be cooking live again, maybe with some new friends. See how it goes. It'll be fun. I got to think of another like theme. I did all egg recipes that last time, so I'm like, what do I do now?
I'm excited.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So our next panelist, I'm gonna get Danny in a second because he's talking about my green screen that's moving around, and I'm gonna get him later. So
I don't see it.
Right.
It's space. It's always like moving, right?
Right. Thank you.
It's just realism.
Yes.
Just realism.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So hush, Danny. All right. So our next panelist,
The win fabulous.
Alex McNeil. I call her Alex Mac. So Alexandra McNeil, cinephile, francophile, and overall literary juggernaut, hails from sunny Sedona. Currently directing Finding You, a web series on YouTube, and co-host of Case of the X podcast, streaming on all platforms, and also will be working with us as we film Nelly Media's first web series, Flirting with Destiny. Welcome to the show, Alex Mack. What's up, girl?
Yes, we in there. How we doing?
Yeah.
How you doing, girl?
Okay, great.
Wait. Is this an all lady podcast of Talking Out?
Yes.
Totally.
I think it
is.
is.
I think we found
I
our new
think
thing.
that was the point.
Get into
I
it.
think that was
Become. Vibrate higher. All that.
Yes.
Yes, I'm so glad for this. So if you guys aren't sure what topic we're talking about tonight, it is pro-choice versus pro-life. A very controversial.
AKA mind your business.
Right.
Hello.
Look, no, I'm supposed to be neutral right now. All right, so
I don't have to be. I'm not the host.
so it's a very controversial topic. It has been for decades now.
My gosh.
My goodness, it's been a very controversial topic. Like, emotions run high. Folks will literally vote for a candidate simply for this one issue.
Right.
That and the gays.
That and the gays.
It's a favorite wedge issue.
Right. That's a combo right there that you might want to.
Right.
But before we do that, let's get into some hot topics real quick. Okay.
Ooh.
So like I did not do my due diligence this week like I should have. So
You okay, friend? You fine? We still here?
yeah. Okay, so let's see. Let's do a real light one that's like probably no one really cares about. J-Lo and A-Rod officially broke up.
What?
Aww.
Just now?
Wah, wah.
Not just now.
No, like
Right this
officially,
second.
like literally just officially. I think today or this week announced it, but they've been like apart for a minute now.
That's what I'm saying.
Right.
They just
Right.
now broke up.
So, but it's official. It's official.
I mean, I'm not really surprised, but you know, it is what it is.
I mean,
I pray
He
that
innocent.
each of them find.
Innocent.
well, and welcome back, T. Just popping in.
Sorry, parenting. Yeah, no, I'm good. I'm good.
Oh,
I
okay.
have to go
I
attend to
got it.
the tiniest human.
Yeah,
I got you. Yeah, I understand.
At this point, it's Jennifer. At this point, because
Why does it have to be Jennifer?
because A-Rod had and like you know,
when she was married to Mark, it was Mark.
Yeah, allegedly. Yeah,
Allegedly.
Right.
So it's not always her, but at this point, it is her.
Okay.
I just don't think she needs to be married.
Right.
She's trying to be one of those people that can be, you know, I'm cool dating for life, but we don't have to be married.
Right. Like
I just think she need to take a minute, you know, let that thing breathe. Just go do some calisthenics and travel the world and love on your babies. Like,
Yeah.
right.
She kind of reminds me of Halle Berry. Like, some women.
It's her.
Dang.
Allegedly.
Right.
They're difficult to date, I heard.
I think.
I mean, when you're at that level of stardom. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Rick.
Well, so I'm thinking like at this
Do you
point,
think
like
it's stardom?
you've gotten to this, you've done this married thing a couple times, a couple times, and you know, I'm sure I know you got to kiss a couple frogs, but like me, like I'm trying to finish up my one marriage right now, and like I don't even want to think about marriage ever again. Like I don't want nobody in my place or my house.
I've been married a couple times. It's not that bad.
I'm just like, but I'm thinking to myself like I don't want
Bullshit.
bothered by nobody.
I've been married once, and that shit was hell.
Come on, Sam.
These are personal experiences. Okay,
That's true.
marriage is really
That's
not
true.
terrible.
Yeah.
Being divorced from my son's dad sucked, but it was the best thing I ever did with my life, and now I have a wonderful, great husband.
I
Bless you.
will agree with that. The divorce was hell, but being separate and being, finally divorced has made a difference.
It's J-Lo.
That I've only been fiancé and never married. I'm good. I'm happy.
Come on,
yes,
fiance.
Yes, yeah. A lady wanted to put a ring on it, but it
Hey.
didn't work out.
Hey.
So
Y'all all have been closer than I have, so I have nothing to say.
You just ain't found the right one. You know what I'm saying?
I don't think there is the right one because I decided the other day if I ever did get married, I'm pretty positive I would want to live in 2 separate houses.
See,
So
Really?
I'm like,
that's what I'm
yeah,
thinking.
I like my space.
Honestly,
I think
Or
the
you can get a truck
space.
driver.
I
They on the
like.
road all the time.
So what you
Go ahead,
saying?
Megan.
I shared a
I'm
room
sorry,
my
what?
whole life with my sister, and then I got to college and shared rooms with roommates. So it kind of like I did have my own room at one point, but I've shared a room more than I've not shared a room in my life.
Okay.
It might make a difference. It might make a difference. I don't know.
Yeah. I just think of like
Sharing the bits.
both of my grandfathers, like one that passed away, but like he had my grandmother passed away when my mom was 14, so I never met her, and for as long as I've been alive, he had this girlfriend. They didn't live together, never lived together.
Okay.
You know, granddaddy had his kids, and all those kids were grown. His girlfriend had her kids. Her kids were grown.
Don't put her on
but like,
blast.
no, I'm not gonna say them names. No, they know who they are. But no, she's great because I've known her all my life. Like
Right.
I knew she wasn't my grandmother, but like she was part of the family. She came to all the family functions,
Hey.
family reunions, aunts and uncles' birthday things. You know, she's been there.
Okay.
But they never lived together. They lived separately, but they had been together for, as far as I knew, over 20-something years.
See,
Like,
and it
what they
works.
like?
And you gotta do what works for you.
Yeah.
Like societal pressure. Like, don't listen to J-Lo. Do what works for you. Like, I'm very happily married. I enjoy my husband. He's a great partner. Like, I also really, really lucked out. Like, it just happens.
Super did.
Yeah. No,
I mean,
go ahead, T.
Yeah, I mean, people have a lot to say about marriage, and I don't want to say I'm your resident believer of Christ, but I am. And people have a lot to say about marriage, but it has its benefits.
Oh yeah.
And so, I mean, kudos to them being in a happy relationship for like 20 years, but say that as dating, they bought property together. Mm-hmm. And somebody dies.
Yeah, they were building a line.
Or like they have there are so many things that also come with being married. Like, I'm legally responsible, just like my husband is legally responsible. So if something happens to me, then
you have an
even
extra
though my son, right, like he can make those decisions. Like if I'm on life support, he can say XYZ. Or when it comes to even like my bank accounts and all that stuff, like my husband is the person who would obtain that, because if you don't have those things in place, and if you didn't put somebody on your accounts, that money goes to the state.
Right.
Well, so I guess true. So for my grandpa,
you're advocating a marriage equality.
Whoop. But like the
I'm not. I am advocating marriage.
The difference is though, like it's my grandfather, and like he's definitely like passed away in his late 80s, early 90s. So like all of his kids and all of her kids are grown. Like, not like I'm 18, one of my dad's 18-year-old kids. Like, no, I got adult children who also have children, and some of them got grandchildren by that point. So I'm just, yes.
Yeah, not necessarily like your situation, but there are
so I definitely agree. Well, I definitely agree with that, because, yes, there is marriage as in one of the sacraments in the church. But there's also marriage as in this is a legally binding document that gives you protection as someone who may own property or just assets and rights of a spouse. Like, okay, you do this to me, I have the rights to do this to you. So yes, I totally understand and I totally agree with that. Like, yes, I get that completely.
Because his mama don't like you, but y'all was together for 15 years and y'all got 3 kids. But guess who's making all the decisions, and you can't go to his funeral now.
Right, and being put down as a special friend on his funeral thing.
Not a special friend.
A special friend on the program. You a special friend.
At the bottom after the family.
At the bottom, next to the copyright.
No, but it's like on the back of the page after all the pictures and like the pictures of him like with angel wings in the clouds. Yes, that's
why do we always do that? That's so bad. Why do we always do that?
I don't know, but
everybody is not a cherub. They don't need wings and clouds. I'm like,
come on, cherub.
Some people, that's not where they was going. That's not where it was going.
Dang.
You just been better at putting up their club pictures, like.
You might as well.
No, because some of them do have them looking like angels, but they got that thug pose like this, like like.
The mall pictures.
I haven't got a ghetto.
That was my stepdad and his when he passed away like a couple years back. It was like sudden kind of thing, and the picture that they used, he was like,
"Hello,
why y'all pick that
thug
picture?
Life? Okay,
why y'all pick that picture of my daddy?"
And I see if you had control of that, you'd be able to at least pick a decent one.
Okay, well.
All right,
can't win them all.
Right. So off of that topic, well, I guess one of the things is the Johnson & Johnson vaccine has been paused.
Oh yeah.
Yes, so not recalled. No, but like because when I was looking it up to talk about it, like there was an article that specifically said in the title is paused, not recalled.
I mean, how you recall something that people done took already?
Right. I can't just take it out of your arm. And
well, take it out of the hospitals. There's a way of recalling.
Yeah. I mean, you can take food off the shelves. So I mean,
people have already eaten certain foods that definitely get recalled. So
yeah, so it's the same concept.
Right. You can't return that
There,
lettuce.
although there
I'm
is
being
some
facetious.
that
Yeah,
are
I
saying
know.
that they're being overly cautious, but
Uh,
considering the rate of deaths with COVID, but hey, if they feel like they need to recall it, honey, go ahead and recall it.
yeah,
Right.
please take it away if you feel like it's
Yeah.
causing
Or,
some damage.
And it's also
or
like
You know.
different. It's the different technology. Like the Moderna and Pfizer are the mRNA technology for the vax, and
Hmm.
the J&J is like the antin something. I forget what it's called. But
Yeah,
so
wasn't it the more traditional,
I
which
thought
is
the
one of the
other
reasons.
two were. I don't remember. I don't remember.
Yeah,
Um,
cause yeah.
yeah, because there's new technology in the Pfizer and Moderna. You're right. You're right.
Hmm.
So I can understand them being a little more cautious just because formulaically it is so different than the other two.
right. So this was due
Right.
to 6 women between the ages of 18 and 48 that had gotten clots, and they were trying to see if those blood clots were linked to the vaccine because they had just recently gotten the vaccine prior to.
Mhm. That's so
So
Johnson ain't did
scary.
it is
always trying
scary.
to kill women. Bad enough they had that lawsuit a few years ago about the cervical cancer. Was it cervical
Mm,
cancer?
From talcum powder.
Uh huh.
yeah.
They just can't
Mm.
get it together.
And I ain't heard nothing about no powder ever since. What
Look,
powder
threw
is
them
my
all
folks had
out.
me putting on? Just put
Threw
your
it
powder
all
in there if
out.
you're sweating
Threw it
outside in the
all.
summertime.
Wrong.
Nothing.
Well,
So,
they got the Lume, so I guess you can try that.
I guess so.
I
But
guess.
Cornstarch.
so like my concern is like yes, it's 6 people, but like I'm thinking of like my school district. They've had at least 2 or 3 days where they just did one big mass vaccination.
Oh yeah.
And it was the Johnson & Johnson vaccine.
Mm.
And so like a couple thousand teachers have gotten their Johnson & Johnson vaccine. So like I'm hoping,
And
that
haven't they reserved the Johnson & Johnson vaccine also for the homeless population because of the
probably.
difficulty following up with bookings?
Yeah.
Right,
They
because it's only one
specifically
shot. Yeah.
right.
Hmm.
So that you got to think about how that's going to disproportionately affect
Right.
people that
Yeah.
might not be able to get a second appointment, and then it's useless anyway. So
Hmm.
Now,
that's rough.
now, mind you, Joe Biden gave like a couple million vials of AstraZeneca up to Canada and Mexico, and Europe has put that one on pause.
Right. That's like so you got your top three, and then you
Ooh,
got
for
like
similar
these
reasons.
right.
So with the
You got
blood
these other
clots.
ones that are like I don't like. What are these names? Okay, we
Well,
can't
I
talk about
mean,
those.
if we're being honest, like anybody said, any vaccine, anything you hell, if we're talking even about street drugs, anything you get, anything you get that you want to put in your body, you like. I know it's like 6 people and they've had blood clots and all that kind of stuff, but like honestly, how many people have taken things that they just got off the streets and had worse effects, or like how do you really
Birth control
know?
gives you some control give you blood clots. Like
Well,
Look,
and
Well, that is
I could
true.
get into the birth control thing because, like, let's face it, modern medicine doesn't care about women enough to further study birth. You know what I mean? Like that's an
right.
issue on its own for me. It's like we shouldn't be on birth control that causes the higher risk for blood clots, but for some reason that's not a priority to be explored. But that's part of what our topic is tonight, right? So
Right.
right.
Hello, somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Look, it's all
Hey,
risk.
Leah.
It's a risk with whatever you're putting in your body that your body doesn't naturally make. It's all a risk, no matter what you do.
I mean,
Could have had some
exactly.
bad
And that's my
cheese.
point. Like, I get it. There are definitely risks with this vaccine, right? But like a lot of people take risks every day trying street drugs and they're acting like this vaccine is, it's like, oh my God. It's like you take stuff off the street every day. You don't even know what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Very
That's
true.
probably why that big mean campaign happened. Like if if you have this in your house, more than likely you're not going to be affected by the COVID vaccine.
Right.
Right.
My
So
goodness. Yes. So we're gonna have to keep like an eye out on how that's going because I'm concerned,
for
but
it.
yeah, like it's not good. So we'll keep an eye on that. All right. So I'm trying to figure out what this echo is coming from. So excuse me if I'm like clicking around, but
click away.
thank you. woke Pat Robinson. I don't know where this even came from, but it happened.
I'm about to
Right.
Google it.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm looking
Wait,
this up.
is that TikToker that all of a sudden awakened that he's no longer? Oh, okay, I'm sorry. All
No,
right.
no, 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 no. You know him as that very, very, very old man from the 700 Club, Pat Robinson.
That Pat. Oh,
That Pat
you
Girl, do you
misspelled
know?
his.
I don't
You
watch him.
misspelled his name. It's
Oh.
yeah.
Robert.
It's like
Robertson.
Robertson.
Robertson. I'm sorry.
Robert. Yeah, there we
Yeah,
go.
so I was like, who's Pat Robinson?
Yes. No,
I was like, who he can too?
Right.
Wow.
Robertson. But thank
Okay,
you.
yeah.
Yes. So right. So he had said, you can always look this up, but he speaks out against he spoke out against the killing of Dante Wright. Like he was like on his show, like comparing a taser and a gun, like the weight, the feel. They're talking about like what position it's on the police officer's body, and then says Derek Chauvin should be put under the jail, completely. Like yes. I don't. Is it the end of times? That's what I'm trying to figure out.
We've always been in the last days, but sure.
I think the reason why, because the 700 Club has been around for like 40 years, over 40 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And my conspiracy theorist mind
I'm
has
back.
always
Okay.
assumed he was racist. So I was like, okay,
I'm not gonna,
Right.
I'm not gonna say he's not. But.
Although you're right. Although the irony is that he has a black co-host, so that's interesting. That's an interesting concept. But it definitely didn't stop Sharon.
Let's be clear, that don't
Osbourne.
mean shit.
Hello.
I was saying it didn't stop Sharon Osbourne. Yeah, I know. Just saying. So, but I think what's kept him relevant within that community for so long is that he kind of knows he's pretty good at seeing how the wind flows within his community. And it's quite possibly that the evangelicals are even fed up with what's going on with all the systematic oppression that's been going on with the police departments.
Yeah.
Which is,
Let's
I guess,
be
a good
clear.
sign.
He still says he's pro-police. Like, he still believes in police services and they do a good job, but he just feels like it's an onslaught of high-profile crimes lately, and we need to cut down on that.
Right.
Okay, let's be clear. Onslaught my ass. It's just an onslaught of being able to record the shit. But okay, as long as someone's paying attention.
Right.
And then that's what I got from that clip that I saw. It was more like y'all doing too much, and y'all making yourselves look bad. So y'all need to actually fix it. Like these videos are actually bad.
Do better.
You need to fix it. You need to do better. Before I can't support y'all openly anymore. That's what I got.
Will that
from
ever happen? No.
Yeah.
It's time to get right. I'm so done.
Maybe
it's always the time to get right. Listen, this is an altar call. This is a perfect opportunity right now. If you would like to get to know my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, please do leave a message here. Okay.
Call to the altar.
If that's not your thing, then you can just move right along. I got no heaven or hell to put you in. All right, praise God. But if you need to get yourself together because you don't know the day nor the hour, because I don't either. My inbox is open. All right, praise
Thank
God.
you, positivity. Thank you, girl. Thank you.
I am so done.
Oh my gosh. But speaking of all that though, particularly this week between Dante, we still got the Chauvin case going, where the defense has rested their case, and he pleaded the fifth. So
yes, he did.
To not incriminate himself, right? To not incriminate himself, and then we have all these other things popping up, like what was this? A little boy, 13, Adam Toledo, in Chicago,
right?
That was killed. Was shot by the police.
Can I just preface? Can I say something real quick? I taught at Atlanta Public High School, charter school. It's called KIPP Atlanta Collegiate, and a student of mine who graduated from KIPP was murdered by the police in Atlanta. They just released body cam footage of the police, which shows that the police shot him in the back. And this is still not even being addressed.
Of course not.
And I'm not saying, obviously all the details of the case, that comes out, but at the end of the day, the body cam, I mean, we had to fight to even get the body cam footage released. And this is a student that I taught. Like I taught and graduated and went, you know what I'm saying? And this is in Atlanta. And we still had to like fight to even just get the body cam footage. And now it's been released of the police shooting him in the back. And have y'all heard of Vincent?
No.
Wait, is that the guy that got shot at Wendy's, or are you talking about another
No,
situation?
that's someone else.
The
This
Richard
is a
Brown.
student I taught. Like I know him. I taught him. And he graduated from a national organization that is supposed to be about uplifting this class of socioeconomic people. And have y'all heard of him?
No. Sad.
Well, I mean, these things occurring though, they're
Every
not.
day, every
They're
day.
happening
This,
all
Every
the
day.
time, and so you
It's
just
becoming
won't
I guess
hear
normalized.
of
my point
everybody.
is it's not that it's just now it's an uprooting of all this is happening. No, it's an uprooting of people having cameras in their fucking
Right.
pockets every day. The police can't get away with what they got away with because there are people that can record that couldn't record before.
Yeah.
Yes.
And the
It's
advent of
not,
They
it's,
can
live.
get away with it.
anybody's talking about,
We've yet to
this
see
is
them not.
this isn't, no, this has been happening.
Yeah.
Me as a white person, in high school, I had a friend who was murdered by the police. Like this ain't nothing new, obviously, for anybody black. Everybody knows
Right.
this ain't nothing new. It's just the fact that we can have it recorded and have it documented now, but it ain't nothing new.
Question, Sam, and I know this is a very sensitive subject for you, and you have my deepest condolences. Um, However, the only thing I can think of the reason why it hasn't hit the national news yet is maybe one or two things. One, there's already like three major shootings that are already on the national news front
Right.
and is bumping that off, or that child that you graduated, what was his sexuality?
Mm.
Because unfortunately, the dichotomy within the African American community with these issues, with these cases,
So
is that if that child or a young adult was a part of the LGBTQ community, that incident is kind of is suppressed. I think the biggest example has been Tony McDade. Tony McDade was, shot by the police. I think he was also shot in the back in Texas. Nobody's talking about it, and due to the fact that he was trans.
Well, I know he definitely wasn't trans. I can't say like his attraction, but I will say I think what happened, I mean, like a lot of these cases, this happened even before it kind of got, even before the George Floyd stuff happened. So it was
Hmm.
like people weren't really recognizing it nationwide like they were, A. And then B, it took so long for the police to actually release that footage. So by the
Hmm.
time by the time they actually did release it and we could see what happened, a lot of the um, support behind it was gone because it took so long for them to even release it. But
I
that's
mean, there's a
another, I
reason for
feel like
that.
that's another tactic that they use. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
Like,
no, they
why
have to
did,
do their
Absolutely.
own internal. They have to do their own internal investigations first,
Investigation.
and that's
right.
why those things take a long time. So the cases that we're seeing now, we're not necessarily seeing it per se from all the cops' perspectives. Some things were recorded by other people, and then it obtained movement based off that. But if they're not done, and I mean, I'm not justifying it or anything like that, but we have to also
Right.
allow them to do their job. It's a really thin line that cops have to walk, right? Because they have a job to do. But at the same time,
Well,
some of them
also
are overdoing their job. So
you
we
can
just have to give them that opportunity.
you can also consider there's probably lawyers also blocking
Right.
things.
right.
Right.
Absolutely.
Lawyers
Absolutely.
are doing their jobs on both
To
sides.
mitigate.
Yes.
Yeah.
I
Um,
guess my point is I get it. There's a lot of red tape. There's a lot of, and she said, he said, and all that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, people are acting like this shit is just happening out of the blue. No, this has been happening. We're just in a time where people can actually record it and document it outside of the police. And it's mind blowing to me. And I get it. At the end of the day, people are going to be open to what they're open to. But at the end of the day, like at the heart of the matter, this has been happening. You know,
I mean, but it happens in all
someone said something like, "Oh, this dude is realizing like this is." No, this has been happening. Like it's been happening. And finally we're at a point as a society we can start holding people accountable. But like how do we start holding these people accountable for this stuff? Like, you know, obviously his case didn't get movement for whatever reason, but it doesn't mean that police can just shoot somebody in the back for whatever reason. You know what I'm saying? So like for these cases that have fallen by the wayside, how do we get the traction and the movement that we needed? Or, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know.
I get what
Maybe
you're
I'm
saying,
just
Sam.
ranting. I don't know.
But it's already happening. I believe the state of Maryland, they just repealed the police bill of rights that was in place, where they're getting rid of their qualified immunity. So the change is happening. We just have to keep the pressure, because while there is always going to be flows of change for the better, there's always going to be people on the other side that's going to try to change it back to the way it is. And I think that particular case in Columbia, South Carolina, is a prime example of that, where that army soldier basically confronted a young black man simply because he was walking down the street, and basically tried to pull an old school Jim Crow, like what are you doing here, boy? That was his whole attitude. Same thing with that lieutenant that was pulled over by the police.
And the cop, oh man, that bothered my spirit so bad.
But he lost his job. You about to lose your job.
Why did he lose his job though? Because he was a person of color. That's why.
But what if he would have died? Like he got pepper sprayed in the face, but what if he would have died? Like, right. I mean, honestly, he got lucky. Like,
we have to look at the what? Like, that guy lost his job, right? But how many others have not lost their job based off not being a person of color?
Right. But
so he got fired
as his job, or did he resign?
No, he got fired.
Got fired.
He was a person of color. He wasn't predominantly of one ethnic group or another.
Are you talking about the cop?
Yes.
So we're talking about
the Army lieutenant.
Right. So we're talking about like when we do see some form of justice or reprimand for the police officers, it's usually someone of not of the prominent group. So like right now we have with the Dante Wright case, or not necessarily case yet, but the Dante Wright situation.
Oh, it is. Kim Potter was charged.
Right.
She was charged with manslaughter.
Right. But
secondary manslaughter, yes.
So therefore, like right there, it's a woman. Granted, it's a white woman,
but it's a minority.
It's still a minority technically,
right?
So it's a woman, and then the lieutenant, the military, the cop was a person of color. Then like they're making an example of those people.
Right. But isn't Shaven Caucasian?
Chauvin it's Caucasian. So. But I think the
he hasn't been let off yet.
Right.
And Patlin, he's Caucasian as well, and he's under investigation by the Army.
That's good.
On top of being charged with third-degree battery and assault, which personally I feel the wife should get charged also because she was instigating that incident.
Right. But I think
and filmed it.
Yeah, I think.
But I got a question to that point, Mo. If he had not been on camera doing that, do you think he would have been on trial like this?
Absolutely not.
So I mean, he's on trial
absolutely not because it would have been
cool. But had he not literally been on camera doing this, would it be a different situation? Yes.
With Chauvin though, with Chauvin though, you have something that has been very public. Witnesses, so many witnesses. It's been very public, recorded. It's been played, and plus the public unrest in that particular place, in that state. has been way more than I think the law enforcement is really wanting to have to continue to deal with. Like,
Absolutely.
it's because yes, we've been having protests, particularly Black Lives Matter protests, a while for several years now. Like this one for this past summer, because of George Floyd and all the other ones that were revealed during the summer, on top of the pandemic, made things even more it's like important, not necessarily, but yeah,
Yeah,
like you can't avoid this. Like it's too much to avoid.
And for those kids, the Gen Zers, as a your favorite auntie that you didn't ask for, I will say I am so proud of you guys. Keep the fight going.
Oh
Keep
yeah.
the pressure going. Don't be derailed by the establishment, because that's what they do. They're just gonna try to derail you because they want to keep the system going, because the system is working for them.
Yeah, or
So
at least
just
make
keep going.
at least make you complacent. Like,
Right.
don't let them do that to you. Honestly, my opinion has always been, if we could get class solidarity amongst poor people across racial lines,
yes,
that would flip everything, because capitalism is the driving force to a lot of this bullshit.
It is.
But that's...
Come on, Megan.
I'm always on the class solidarity thing. I'm like, please, poor people from stop. The Republican lie is convincing white poor people that they're on their side. They're not.
Right.
But it's not just them though, because if you look at the Democratic Party, they're doing the same thing.
What'd you say? It's not.
I said, but it's not just the Republicans. The Democrats are doing the same thing. It's a shell game.
Right. But what was that quote by? There's a president that had this quote about being able to convince the poor white man if he's better than the black person.
LBJ.
Yes.
LBJ. He made the statement that a white man will give you the shirt off his back in order for him to feel superior to the Negro. And that's what's been happening. I mean, frankly, that was the whole crux of the Civil War, because frankly, most people couldn't afford to own a slave. That's like a mortgage. So, but they fought.
And then have a whole heap of them.
Yeah, exactly. But they fought based on the idea that they would have an opportunity to do it, and the feeling that superiority complex going. And unfortunately, it's happening to them today, because they feel like, oh, all these poor people are messing me up, and I could be rich just like the 1%.
Right.
No, honey. No, that's not how that works.
I feel like that's how Trump got everybody. You know what I'm saying? He got all these,
for better or for worse. Yeah, all these he did. He was able to galvanize that particular set of people. For better or for worse, whatever he did, I will say this: he did bring in an era, ushered in an era of exposure and authenticity, because all of them are getting exposed, honey. You saw what happened with Matt Gaetz. Now he got allegations now going, and I'm like, keep listing them, listing them. I'm look, let them have it. And now you got Boner, whatever his name is, the former Boehner. Yeah, Boehner. Sorry, I said Boner. Boner. Boehner. He's got a book coming out, and he's actually stated that he regretted impeaching Bill Clinton. He regrets it now. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It
only took him 25 years.
Right. No, I hear he's airing out a good bit of Republican laundry in his book.
Absolutely. He got to make a check somehow.
Hello.
Ooh. So last thing, we're going to go to something a little lighter, okay? Because I just realized this. What's his name? Prince Philip.
Oh, I was like, who? Wait.
Prince Philip, consort, recently passed away, and
consort, is that what they really call him?
I don't know.
He
is.
I mean, that's what he was, but I mean, that was her husband. Now
her cousin.
Not her cousin.
Shall we about to get canceled? We're about to get canceled.
I'm sorry. All you got to do is watch a couple episodes of
Look
the first
at
season
T sipping tea.
The first
See,
season of The Crown,
Stephenson.
you can get that.
I've watched all the seasons of The Crown, so I could talk about that
Look,
show all day. It's
a
great.
quick, it's a
Why?
quick
Okay, I
Wikipedia
got a
search.
question, and this might be my ignorance. Why is
Okay.
she the queen and he's still prince? Like, I've been trying to
Because she
figure
was
that out.
born.
She's the bloodline.
Born.
She's the
Mhm.
bloodline.
She's the bloodline. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, he technically was a duke, and she promoted him to prince so that his son would not outrank him,
Right.
essentially, because of his ego.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Right.
He's the Duke of Edinburgh.
Yet again,
All right,
women
thank
looking out for
y'all, 'cause
men.
I was confused.
Right.
I'm done.
So like there's of course, so we have our own pair of royals over here, the Sussex. The Sussex. Meghan and Harry.
Harry and Meghan.
Well,
yes, the Sussex.
look,
Yes.
wait. The little sip and Kiki. Allegedly, Harry is not Prince Charles' baby.
Allegedly, I don't know. I think in the eyes he looks way
Oh.
too much like Charles to not be Charles.
He has some Charles.
I don't
face
know, but he
features.
looks just like the butler.
But that could just be general.
Not
That
the
could just be.
butler.
It was a bodyguard. It was a bodyguard.
He was a bodyguard.
I'm sorry. He looked just like the bodyguard.
Listen,
The
Hey,
bodyguard
hey,
had
Mo.
red hair. The bodyguard had red hair.
Hey, Mo, you
I'm-
know all white people look alike.
Alleged.
Don't be doing all
Hello.
that. I'm just
Now that I have to disagree.
Now,
But
there
what
is a
I will
certain
say
British
is that
look.
British people do all look alike.
They have a
Now
look.
that I
Sometimes.
don't know.
You could always tell when I
Y'all
worked
need
at
to stop. Y'all
when I
dirty
worked at
people.
Disney. When I worked at Disney World, you could always tell when it was a British person at the park because they were usually like really red and sweaty and wearing like hoodies, and they shouldn't have been. Like you're just like, oh no,
Not used to
Brits.
that Florida sun. Not used to that Florida
Oh, just
sun.
fried. They would just all be fried, just flaking off their
I'm
forehead.
miserable.
They didn't give him no sunscreen at the airport. Good grief.
They didn't know any better.
I couldn't feel
I
too
hope they
bad
bought
about it
that
because
insurance.
I was more focused on DMX dying, so I was like,
Right.
okay,
Right.
I'm
R.I.P.
just
to a real one.
Right.
yeah.
Well, yeah, which is happening. What happened like basically around the same time, like the same week, with the like,
think,
days, days of each other. But
No, it was like the same day.
That's what I
Something
say.
like
I feel like
officially,
One-
yeah, I think.
It's like
Yeah.
a day after, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't
So
know.
I guess like the thing with Prince Philip is that they, how the British press has like a beef with Meghan Markle, and just,
Right.
it's racism. But she's pregnant with her second child, and it's like she's late
Right.
into her pregnancy, and so it's like a damned
Right.
if you do, damned if you don't. Oh, she's not coming to the funeral. She's gonna make this all about her. Or
Girl,
she came
what?
to the funeral. She's gonna make this all about her. What
Exactly.
do you want her to do?
She's
Y'all don't want
literally
her
in the
to-
third. She's in the third trimester. She's not allowed to. You're not allowed
Right.
to fly in the third.
Like,
Even
not
if
allowed
she
to-
wasn't in the third trimester and she had no kids, if she had not got on that plane, I would have not been surprised. I would have been like, girl,
At
I wouldn't have
all.
gone either. No. To
Right.
eat bad
No.
food and have people talk about me? No.
No,
okay.
thank
With
you.
no salt.
Right. I was gonna say home.
Where?
Although
It's the salt.
it's very interesting though that after the comment about Meghan stating that someone within the royal family or within the royal institution had was questioning author's what was the baby's name? Is
Archie.
the color of his skin, and the royal family did make a statement stating that they were gonna make sure that they got rid of racism, out of the court. And
How?
well, I think they started with one, didn't they? I'm just saying.
Oh
With
my
their,
God.
they had a czar, like they hired a czar or some shit like that.
Of diversity, czar diversity, something like that.
Yeah, something
Yeah.
like that.
If czar is your title, I don't think that has anything to do with diversity. Like,
But here's
That's
the
not
thing.
fair.
And the person they hired as the czar was like a white man.
Of course
like,
it was.
Of course it was.
Especially
Of course it
with
Of
the
was.
course it was.
It's
Absolutely.
like,
Although,
okay.
but that leads to a bigger problem because most major corporations have a chief of diversity,
A chair, yeah, a chair.
a chair of diversity, yeah, and it's like a lot of times they're Caucasian and male, and it's like
Are y'all really
Yeah,
that tone
like-
deaf?
yes they are.
They are.
They're like, and one of the companies had the audacity to say, oh well, we can't find black executives.
Did you look?
right.
Did you
'Cause
I
search?
see him on LinkedIn every time I log in.
Thank
I'm
you.
getting
Every
confused.
time. They are like right
Where?
there. They're part of various organizations. Like
Right.
all you got to do is call up a HBCU. Like, hey, do you have any Black executive alumni? Can we get their information? We want to hire somebody. It's not that hard. I mean, you could even, you could technically do that with a PWI. But I'm just saying, like you don't want to put in the effort. Just say that.
Right.
I would respect you more.
Right.
Yeah, that's how
Quit
I
playing in
feel.
my face.
Just
Quit
be
playing in my
honest
face.
about it. Like,
Just
Yeah,
tell
quit
me a
playing in
better
my face.
lie.
Right.
We're
Hello.
sorry. We haven't put in a lot of effort in doing that, but
Yeah,
we're going to put in more
send your
effort.
job fairs to diverse schools. Like,
Right.
job
and
fairs
not
always
just
come.
not just Morehouse, Spelman, and Howard.
Right. There's so
I
many.
don't know. They spend like what, 25,000, 35,000 a year.
Let's get
They
into
need-
it.
they
All
need-
HBCUs are expensive. All HBCUs are expensive, not just the top ones y'all hear about.
Albany State is not expensive, but it is a great school.
Tennessee State was very expensive.
Well, it's in Tennessee.
I mean,
They need the money. They got to get it from somewhere. They back there making moonshine still.
Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. You wrong.
I mean, to be fair, there's a reason why they have to be expensive. They don't get the same level of funding a lot of times as
school,
opposed to
yes.
their
They are
PWI
private school.
counterpart. Well, not all of them, but the majority of them, they are.
I'm just
So,
saying there are other HBCUs to go and pull from than to reach out to the high visibility ones. Even when people donate, like they donate to the same ones, and it's like Morehouse isn't hurting for money. Neither is Spelman.
At all.
Please donate to like a Benedict, please. Benedict could use your money.
I mean, but even with the PWIs, they send money to the same ones too. So I think that's just a capitalist thing.
Right.
Those schools did better marketing and they did better. They have people that seek out that money better than their
schools
counterparts.
are good old boy organizations. Not
they are.
They make better money.
I mean, I'm
it's
just
about
saying.
who you know.
Absolutely. But at the end of the day, isn't that what capitalism is all about?
Right.
It's all about
the
it.
chicken and egg. Like, yes, good old boy also make good money. Or one does the other for you. Whichever one. How you start it.
I do have a question because I know we about to move to the main topic, but
How you know?
Well, I don't know. So if
kidding,
I'm
sorry, we
wrong,
are.
my bad. Let me know.
No.
No, you was right.
We are actually
Right.
Okay, so my sister, so there's been like a big battle in Atlanta about the local jail closing down or not. Have y'all heard about that?
Mm-mm. You got talk about it, Sam. Talk about it.
Okay, so
Yes, I heard a little bit about it.
Okay, so for a long time, government has been promising that they're going to shut down this local jail and basically open it up as like a center for hope. And like repurpose it for like redirecting resources towards like, positive things in the community, rehabilitation versus like locking people up. And it has been an ongoing issue in Atlanta. So over the past couple months, every Sunday, I've called in at a certain number and like voiced my opinion about what I want, which is to close this down, because at the end of the day, if they continue to keep it open, especially in the city of Atlanta, I mean, if we being real, all they're going to lock up is like our community members and everyone else. So if we can use this and we can keep it open, or at least convince the city of Atlanta to use it towards like a rehabilitation and like kind of a center of hope versus just another way to like keep the people of city of Atlanta down. So this has been like a ongoing battle. And I can't say that I've been very instrumental in it, but my sister, all my sisters and I, we were born and raised in Atlanta. And even though she's not here now, she lives in Mexico. This is something that she's like really promoting hard. So I'll give y'all the information. I'll put it in the comments or whatever. But you guys can call the city council and leave comments about what you want done. And they will have to listen. If you guys call before Sunday, and I'll give you the number and everything like that. And there's even like a script if you want to follow it, or you don't have to. But if you call before 7 on Sunday, they have to listen to those voicemails before they make a vote next week. So I know this isn't like a current events like topic, but it is very pertinent to like city of Atlanta. And I'll get all the information. But if you guys are interested at a local level, this is something that we can really affect. There's also like a protest happening tomorrow, and I can give the address and all that kind of stuff. And I can even give you like the number and who you can call and all that. But if we're talking about really trying to promote local change, this is something that we can do, and we can call people out, and we can, I mean, it's great that we're going to the polls and we're electing people, but we also have to hold them accountable. Right. And so I will give all the information. There's like a protest happening tomorrow. And as long as you call a certain number before Sunday at 7 and leave a voicemail, they have to listen to your voicemail and consider that before they make a vote on Monday.
All right. So Sam, just if you can send it in the private chat, and then also like if you can post it on one of the Facebook posts for this stream, and we can make sure that information is shared with everyone.
Yes, so that's all I wanted to say, because my sister has been like hounding me, and it is important, and this is something we could do at a local level. So I feel like we talking about current events. I feel like I just had to say something. So
and it's super current. Yes.
All right, so we're gonna go to commercial break before we go into our main topic: pro-choice versus pro-life. See you in a bit.
Hey everybody, my name's Chris.
I'm Duryea.
I'm Ricky Z.
Justin.
And Julian.
Have you heard about Anchor.fm? It's the easiest way to make a podcast. First off, it's free.
Oh, I love free, especially when we're talking creation tools that allow you to record and edit right from your phone and computer.
And Anchor will actually distribute your podcast for you. So as soon as you're finished recording, you can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many other platforms.
And you can make money off of your podcast with no minimum listenership.
It's basically a one-stop shop for everything you need. So head on over to anchor.fm and download the mobile app now. And make sure you come back and geek out with us.
All right, so those were commercials for Anchor.fm, which is what our sister podcast, Geeking Out, which you can find me on every other Monday at 8 p.m. So, yes, it's a great site to be able to publish your podcast onto just about any podcast streaming site that you can think of. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, all those ones.
Yeah.
So definitely check out Anchor.fm if podcasting is your deal. And then we have the Rem Alternis Shadowrun, which I'm not a part of, but Duryea is. He plays a mage, and it's every Tuesday. And yes, like it's.
I don't know.
It's true. It's true.
I mean, it's true, and it seems cool. I think he's been enjoying it. It's pretty cool so far. All right,
he's a gamer.
Yes, he's definitely a gamer. So let's get to our main topic: pro-choice versus pro-life.
Yes,
oh, child, the ghetto, honey, the ghetto.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. But this has been such a divisive topic in politics for as long as I can remember, and I'm only 32.
Not even just politics. I mean, it's women amongst everyone. Yeah,
but like it's dealing with religion. It's dealing with reproductive rights. It's dealing with women's rights. There's so much that it encompasses, and it gets people super emotional and like super combative about it, and like real obnoxious too, to be honest with you. So let's start with the basic things. Like not that I'm specifically asking your stance, because we'll get to that in a little bit. But like, at what point did you come to your stance? What made you decide where you stood on it? So let's start with Mo. Let's go with Mo.
Child, I've had my stance since basically grade school. It ain't changed. It ain't gonna change. Just keeping it real.
Right. Okay. All right. What about UT?
My relationship with God and becoming serious about my walk with Christ.
Okay. All right. What about you, Alex Mack?
The serious level of minding my business that I like to do. So, and staying out of other people's business that I like to be in. Yep.
All right, Sam.
Speak that.
Well,
I mean, I think like Mo, my stance has been pretty stable since pretty much high school. And I guess to speak on T's, you know, I have had a change in my religion and my review or my belief as far as religion, but it still doesn't take away from something that I feel like has been ingrained in me since before that.
All right, Megan.
How to unmute myself. I have probably believed the way I believe since about I was 13 or 14, I guess, around the time you really understand how the reproductive system works. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I was curious. I remember somebody bringing up the hot button issue and me being like, I don't know what my opinion is. And then I thought about it and I did my own thing. And now I have an opinion. I've always had that opinion. So over half my life.
Right. So for you guys that are in the comments, if you're watching, it's like, what is your stance? How did you come to that decision? So because I didn't want this to be like well, yeah, it says versus, but at the same time, I want this to be a discussion because it is right now. It's a discussion among women or you know, non-binary, but also gender-identifying women. But still, I wanted to kind of not be like combative. Yes, we can talk about it. I know we're supposed to be like somebody's supposed to have like that, make it like a devil's advocate, but I can't do that like genuinely. So.
Yeah, me either.
I'm gonna be honest with y'all. Sorry, dude. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm not gonna. I cannot genuinely be a devil advocate. All right, so yes, if you are in the comments, tell us what your stance is. So, I guess the next thing would just really think about is like talk about. I want to get your thoughts, T. What like so. Fully explain.
I'm gonna guess that I'm the only pro-lifer here then. Everybody else is pro-minding their business. Yeah, I don't care. I'm not offended.
No, you're not the only. You're not the only religious person. I am a Christian, but I am
no, not religious. Pro-lifer.
Yeah, but I'm just letting you know you're not alone there. But I am pro-choice.
Okay. Yeah. So let's get down to it.
Yeah.
So, at one point in time in my life, I did feel like I had a choice to be pro-choice. And so I was. And then I got really serious when I moved to New Mexico, and which was after I got married to my son's dad and I was pregnant and had my son. I really started thinking about like my choices and decisions that I was making and what they were based off of. Now, as a pro-lifer, I'm not saying you better not have my stance, me personally, not forcing that stance on anybody else, is saying that everybody should be given the opportunity to have their life play out in fruition.
Okay.
Because I'm not saying that from a biblical standpoint, right? No one, not just women, should be having sex before marriage. But since people aren't following that, there are also way too many things out there that can protect you from the outcome of having a child. Mm-hmm. And so while even though, yes, I had sex before I got married, that doesn't mean that I'm saying it's okay. It means that at the time that I was doing it, I didn't care about going to hell. And if somebody would have told me, I would have been like, okay, and I'll see you there. And I would have kept dancing at the club or drinking my drink or whatever it was that I was doing. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And so I'm not here to convince any of you all to change your standpoint. But what I pick up from the whole pro-choice movement, just what I pick up, and I'm not saying that that's what people here are believing, is that you want to force me to change my thoughts based on how you feel. And so that's the part about it, that because it's so divisive, and I'm not in the habit of arguing with a person about anything pertaining to the Bible, if you're just arguing with me for the sake of arguing and you don't have a curiosity about something. Now, I will talk to you when it comes to having a curiosity, or I'll explain something, but I'm not going to argue with you why I believe what I believe. That's your business, that you don't, and move on with your life. And so I am pro-life. Abortions do suck. They do something to you. They snatch a piece of your soul. And this is not me speaking from a, holier than thou biblical standpoint. This is from a personal experience. And I will say that it is something that can have adverse effects on you that are outside of the time frame of the moment of when you're doing it. Mm-hmm. And so there are so many factors that people don't necessarily take into consideration because abortions are so readily available. They don't think about the emotional things that come with having that. Or some people have them like people get pap smears once a year. And if you over, a certain age, every 5. And so there has to be another way. There has to be a better way. I'm not telling any of you what to do with your body. I'm just saying that if there's an opportunity for life, you knew what you was doing when you was out there getting it in, that it could have been a possibility. And that's for all of us, right? Unless you identify with the same-sex relationship. That's the only way it wouldn't be a possibility of reproduction coming out of it, outside of including someone else, right? So then if you were a man and or woman enough to do it, be man and or woman enough to take responsibility for what you did. I'm off my soapbox now. Carry on.
Mo, thoughts?
I know this is gonna surprise T, but I have a similar stance.
Okay.
In what she's saying from a moral standpoint. I'm pro-life within my own life. However, I feel that under no circumstances I should be telling another woman what to do with her body. Mm-hmm. Okay. Because at the end of the day, that's her the choice and her decision, and it should be kept between her and her daughter. I mean, excuse me, doctor, not Freudian slip. I was born in the 80s. Roe v. Wade happened around 72. My mother had the choice to not have me. I thank the Lord every day that she did. Shout out to my mama. Hey, say hey, Miss Donetta.
Hey, Miss Donetta.
Hey, Miss Donetta.
Hey, Mom.
Miss Donetta Davis, everybody. Miss D, Miss D, honey. Okay, but so, and when I look at the figures, abortion, even though there's been a slight spike, probably due to COVID, everybody in the house, abortion has been down for the past 40 years. Around the time of Roe v. Wade, the figures were looking at about 25 per 1,000 births. We're down to 13. So we're basically half of what we're doing. And the whole crux of what Roe v. Wade was stating is that these women are doing it anyway. Let's at least give them the option to do it in a safe environment with a doctor. Mm-hmm. And if that's your decision, because not everybody believes in God, not everybody believes in Christ, and that is their prerogative. Mm-hmm. But I just want that woman to have that option and not be shamed because of it. Right. Because at the end of the day, there's a lot of shaming that's occurring, and when we shame a woman and they go ahead and guilt into having that child, then that child can end up in an unwanted environment, and or even being put up for adoption. basically taken out of the home. And I don't see these same people that are pro-life adopting these kids. So, yeah. So if you're gonna talk that talk, I need you to walk that walk.
Right. So, Mr.
Adoption
Duryea
is
Collier,
difficult,
Mr.
So
Duryea
what
Collier,
now?
are we
They make
already?
adoption extremely difficult, even
They
within the
do.
state. And so while everybody likes to use that as an argument, it's not really, because adoption can start off at $10,000, just basically. And for people who are working class, middle class people, $10,000 is a lot of money to start off with, not including all the lawyer fees, all the doctor's appointments, and whatever else comes into play with that. And I know people who have adopted based off not being able to have children, and it's expensive, it's time consuming, it takes a lot of being off work. And I know a lot of companies allow for that time, as in like FMLA, or give leave for that, but it's not as easy as like, I'm gonna go on down to the adoption agency and I'm gonna adopt me some kids because I can't have them. It's a little bit more complicated.
It's a little bit more complicated. However, these people are not even putting in the effort to try. That's number one. And number two, a lot of the people that, if you look statistically, a lot of them come from higher middle class homes. So it's not like they can't afford it.
And I think
that are pro-life.
So that's twofold though. So number one, it is difficult, but also
and foster system.
Yes.
They can at least be foster parents while they're waiting for someone to, within that process. If they're so concerned about this child before it's born, they need to be concerned about it after the child is born, when it's going to school, when they're in third grade getting that test to determine whether they're going to be put in the prison pipeline or in the school pipeline.
Well, we're also talking a lot about the kids. We're not talking about the woman here.
Yeah.
You're saying, oh, the child's going to be in an unwanted home. What about the trauma of childbirth? What about the pain?
Yeah.
What about how much your body physically changes when you have a kid? Like, your body is very different afterwards and will never be the same, unless you're just really, really, really genetically blessed, and that's like 1% of people. Your body is not going to be the same again after you do it. So I understand, like, children obviously are a huge concern, but the women that have to be pregnant are a huge concern to me. You know what I mean?
True, but I kind of agree with T. What she was saying, that it's still personal responsibility because she did lay down and have that baby.
Like,
So
you could have
really
taken birth control.
Well, but you also
so that was
Okay, wait, can I say something? Because
let Megan. We're gonna hear Megan real quick.
Let's Megan, and then Sam. Go ahead.
Well, another topic I heard was that abortions are easily accessible. That is also a myth. Lots of states only have one abortion center. They have rules about districting. They have rules about time waiting periods. There's a documentary on Netflix. I think it's called something about Roe v. Wade. Let's see. It's
where there's a will, there's a way. People drive across state lines to do it.
Reversing Roe. No, there was this one girl in a dire circumstance. She was a child. She was 13 years old, a victim of incest, and was closing the window. And she did not get an abortion in time, despite her mother trying everything she possibly could to get her one. Everything she possibly could. And this child had to have a baby. So they are not easily accessible, especially for poor people or people that are marginalized or in abusive situations.
Yeah. Yep. Because the state of Mississippi has one.
Mississippi is awful. Mississippi, and they change the rules all the time. Clinics get closed every day because they change the rules about what's.
There's literally one left.
However, even if you're underprivileged, and I know this because I live in an underprivileged state. New Mexico is like really, really poor. We're like the almost borderline last for everything, right? But the health department does not charge you for STD testing. The health department does not charge you for any form of birth control. A high schooler can walk into the health department, grab a bag of condoms, and walk right out, and we don't ask any questions. So to me, when people say things like that, and I'm not saying you're saying, giving me an excuse, but there are too many free resources out there available to people, unless you're in situations like the young lady who, if you were raped, molested, if it was like a sexual assault type thing, that's different. But I'm not necessarily speaking to those people. Right. I'm not necessarily speaking to those people. I'm speaking more to the conscious adults who are laying down and making these choices. And this could be a possibility for any woman.
Sam then Mo, real quick. Sam and Mo. Okay, Sam and Mo. Come on, Sam.
Okay, so sorry, I had to unmute myself. So a couple things
Had to take a sip.
because I had to take a sip. But no, okay, so a couple things since this topic has been brought up, right? Like I do believe I am in a way religious and spiritual, right? So T, like you, I do appreciate the spirit of the child and what that child, like that child's purpose, and you know what I'm saying. My thing and my question is to the pro-lifers out there, how do you justify wanting to try and dictate what someone can do with their body when you don't even want to put masks on your face? And you don't even, like, a lot of the pro-lifers are people that don't even want somebody telling them they can put a mask on their face. And a lot of the pro-lifers, like, I live down, not me personally, but my parents live in Ormwood Park, which at the end of the day, back in the day, 40 years ago, 30 years ago in Atlanta, shit was not Ormwood Park. It was the hood. So there's like a Planned Parenthood off of my parents' street exit that I get off of. And I see pro-lifers every day out there protesting people going into Planned Parenthood. And my question is, where are you when these people need support? You're the main people trying to take away government support for these people and for these children, but you are also the main ones appropriating the message that every child's life matters and everything matters. Well, if everything matters, I guess my issue comes in where it's like, okay, you want to tell me what I can do with my body, but when I actually do it and follow that, you don't want to actually follow up with the support. And then you're the same people that want to say, oh, wearing masks is governmental control. But you want to make the argument that saving a fetus is not the same as saving someone's life with wearing a mask. And so my issue comes in at, you want to stand outside all day protesting abortion, but you won't go and fight for the rights and the resources that people need when they have these babies that they can't afford.
And yeah, go ahead, Mo.
Okay, so I'm gonna work backwards with your question. So going back to T's statement about how easy it is in New Mexico.
Real quick. And honestly, if we look at birth control, women can only have babies 2 or 3 days out the month. Men, depending on who they have sex with, literally can impregnate a woman every single day of the week if they find the right woman at the right time. So why is it the woman's obligation and job to have birth control and regulate our bodies when really, when we're looking at the issue is men? Women can only literally, yeah, I mean, in general, I mean, I was the person in high school, T, where I was taking my friends, if you were having sex, I was taking, because I could drive and all that kind of stuff, I was taking my friends to Planned Parenthood so much to the point where Planned Parenthood was like, do you want a job? Like, what? Like, do you work for us? No, I'm for real, because, and I wasn't taking people that weren't doing that. Let's be clear. I wasn't like trying to get people who weren't engaged. I had a car. I started driving when I was a junior. You know what I'm saying? So I was at the point where if my friends were engaging in that behavior, I was taking them to get protected, not just like condom wise, but also like birth control wise. But my question is, why is it on the woman when the woman literally has a 2 to 3 day window where they can get pregnant? But a man, if they mess with the right person at the right time, they could get 100 females pregnant in the month.
I want to say language wise that not every woman with a uterus identifies as a woman. I just want to say that.
Okay, true. Sorry. I'm
No,
sorry if
no,
I'm being
just for
insensitive.
us to be all inclusive. I just want us to
Right.
remember that.
Right. Sorry. But if you are with a uterus and have the ability to have a baby, you literally have 2 to 3 days out of the month where you are physically able to get impregnated. But if you are a man messing with multiple women who might be ovulating at different times, you can impregnate as many women as you want throughout the month. So why as women are we responsible for, and I get it, like there's a lot of pro-life and pro-choice and all that kind of stuff. But I was a person in high school. I took so many of my friends up to Planned Parenthood to protect themselves that they were trying to offer me a job. Like I get what y'all are saying, and I get that,
Right.
but my
But I'm gonna
question
get you
is,
answer though. I'm gonna get you answer though. I'm gonna get you
why
answer
is
though.
it that we as women are only regulated, and then when we're regulated and the regulations extend to something as simple as masks, everyone has an issue with it?
I'm gonna get you.
Matt,
Okay,
go ahead,
I
Mel.
got one word. I got one word for you.
Matt.
Patriarchy.
Yeah.
That's it. That's the
Yes.
whole reason. That's the whole
Yes.
reason. So
Yes.
now to
Talk
go
on it.
back to Tia's, now going back to T. Oh, sorry. Going back to Tia's point, about how it's easily accessible. Yes, it's easily accessible in the state of New Mexico.
It's easily
Unfortunately,
accessible in Georgia because I worked at the teen hospital at Grady
see,
in the
I wasn't
teen
gonna, I wasn't gonna
program.
say about Atlanta. I wasn't gonna say about Atlanta. Because there's other states. There's like for example, uh in the state of Mississippi, they literally only have like access to like one major health department and Planned Parenthood, and that's in the state of That's in the city of Jackson, and unfortunately, not everybody drives. So, and there's no public transportation with the exception. Well, I mean, you still have to go to Jackson, I believe, mostly just to get the Greyhound. So you have these impoverished areas where they don't have the access, and to top it off, they're not getting the education because the state of Texas basically rules the land when it comes to education because the textbooks come out of Texas. When those textbook companies are selling books, it's the Texas only, and basically we get copies of that. So if Texas doesn't want it in their books, it's not going to happen. That's the reason why sex education with the abstinence only. So due to that fact, uh, unfortunately, teen pregnancy started to come on the rise because of the lack of knowledge. So, and what's even scarier is that it seems like the on the other side of it with the pro life, they're making it okay for rape and incest because there's states right now that have put it on their books that that is not no longer a reason, a valid reason to get an abortion. So and they're basically saying, well, it's God's will that you had a baby because you got raped, which I'm like, that is just I'm gobsmacked. And I'm disturbed by it because statistically, I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. Statistically, the most people that get abortions in this country is white women, and the white supremacist system knows that by 2050,
married white women
women at that
with children that
with
already
children,
have children.
right?
60%.
Right, and they know that by 2050 that they're no longer going to be the majority. So with it, and that's not just in this country, that's also happening in Western Europe. So Western Europe tried to give incentives, allowing women to stay home and get extra money and even nannies in order to raise their birth rate. That didn't work. So with the U.S., they decided to go a more puritanical route with trying to get rid of abortion, and also the evangelicals use that as a way to amass power within the Republican Party, and unfortunately, that didn't work either. So that's why you have things that are happening now, like with these voter suppression laws that are going state by state within the union, because it's all a means of trying to maintain the patriarchal norms that is changing within this country as we speak. I'm done.
Alex, I want you to pop in real quick.
You gotta unmute first, though.
Unmuting forever.
I'm sorry.
It's fine. I just think for me, and what helped me decide on being pro-choice was the some of the more out, like the facts, like for Georgia. I'm gonna use Georgia because I don't mind using Georgia. The cutoff for abortion, I think, is 20 weeks or for like the gestation period, which not everybody's gonna make the cut for that. Sometimes there are medical issues that go on in the 5th month, the 6th month, the 7th month, and for whatever reason, medically, you should have to, I feel like, have the choice to be able to terminate a pregnancy, especially if it's life-threatening. Somebody also said, I think it was T, you're talking about contraceptive being easily accessible. It's not easily accessible for every person, unfortunately, especially with, like, Georgia has 159 counties. If the majority of the abortion clinics are in Atlanta and you live in closer to Valdosta and you don't have a car, you're not going to get there. It's not going to happen. If you don't have the money for that, it's like and if you're insurance or majority uninsured, you're not going to be able to jump on and, get IUD or get whatever pill or a shot. It's not going to work for you, especially if you need parental consent. If you're a teenager, we're talking about the teen rate of pregnancy has gone up. Not parental consent for birth control, but you need it for an abortion. So now you're having to face the fact that yes, Georgia has a judicial law where you can bypass going around your parent, but then you still have to prove why you need to bypass your parent in order to get an abortion. And if your parent can prove that, you're not of the right mind or you're not mature enough, then it all gets taken away from you anyway. And I personally feel like, especially with women's bodies, no matter what age you are, incest, rape, a medical reason, you should have the freedom and the allowance to step up and say, I need to terminate my pregnancy willfully. Also, for me, I consent to have sex with people. I don't consent to get pregnant. So if I choose in my everyday life as a 34-year-old with insurance to have sex with a man and I happen to get pregnant, I fully believe that I should have the right to then go around and say, I'm not in my mind, in my body, in my spirit at this time able to take care of a child. I am not interested in putting a child into foster care. And I should be able to move from there without having to feel as if I've been shamed or I have wronged someone or that people in general are going to look down on me because it's a private process in my personal life.
Okay.
That's just me.
All right. Well, so this has come up in the comments several times about sex education. So all of this is
mine sucked.
Right. So
and I think
mine was pretty good.
Go ahead, Megan.
Sex education can include, I wanted to add on to what Alex was saying, not in the mind, body, whatever, to raise a kid. Right. Also, pregnancy. I've been pregnant, and I wanted that pregnancy. I have depression. I had no idea being pregnant would affect it that badly. But I had a support system. But what if I didn't have a support system and I got that depressed? I probably would have been suicidal. Like, it changes everything possibly about you. Some people feel great pregnant. I am not a pregnancy unicorn. It did not feel good. You know what I mean? Like, it's a huge undertaking, not just the kid part, but the pregnancy part. It's like, it's just, yeah.
Yeah, because let's be real though, like, pregnancy completely and totally changes your body. And yes, some things might go back. There's plenty of things that do not.
And we're not even talking physically appearance wise.
Like,
it's like
the innards, like your insides.
I literally have acne now, worse than I've ever had in my whole life since having a baby. Acne, just like painful acne, like just awful. Like, that's not curable in any way. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, it changes the physical, chemical being.
Stop.
I'm just sitting here because I think I'm the only one on panel that like doesn't have kids, so I'm like,
I'm child free.
Right. So she said
free.
Okay. All right. One of two. And I'm sitting here like, oh, I'm so glad I made my decision. Team F them kids. Yes, Lord. I'm about to go, honey. I'm about
My
to go.
Kids.
I can
My
go
child
take
was 100% worth it. I will take the I will take the acne to have my child. He's a great kid. But
I'm sure that baby is the blessing from up above. However,
A gift from a Bob.
But it has to be your
up above.
It's supposed to be your decision though. If it's kids aren't your thing, they're not your
Yes.
thing. If they're not your thing, they're not your thing.
Yeah.
I just gotta pray and save enough money so that way I can put myself in the right nursing home when the time comes.
Dang.
I mean, I do agree. If you are acting grown enough to engage in that activity, you need to act grown enough to protect yourself. But the truth is, the sex education and the sex prevention and the knowledge behind that, I'm sorry,
on,
it's
Caroline.
not where it needs to be in this country.
All right, Caroline. I'm gonna have a baby talk to me.
If you can go on
I'll
TikTok,
talk
if you can go on Instagram, if you can go on Facebook, you can get on Google and look up information about safe sex practices. So saying in an information-based technology.
Yeah, but do you want your child to say, "Hey, I looked up this on Google and this is what I realized"? Or do you want them to say to you, "Hey, I appreciate what you said to me and I realized this is how I need to be responsible"?
I want my son and daughter to say both to me because I have a boy and a girl. And I'm not going to teach my son that it's okay for him to go out and sleep with everybody, but not teach my daughter that she can't do that. I'm going to teach them both that this is why we don't do these things. And this is the consequences.
Right,
but if he goes on social media and finds out about I've had, because again, having a son is a lot different from having a daughter because they come with their own different set of issues, right? Yeah. So I've had another child introduced my child to pornography, okay, at a young age. So then I had to have these conversations with my son, and my son's intelligent. He's doing coding. So he's smart enough to look up porn on the computer. So not only do I have to be a responsible adult and parent to educate my child, but also if he comes to me, his father, or my husband, who also he considers his father, and says, "Hey, this is what I saw online. I have questions," then I'm going to be responsible and talk to my son about that. Like, there are too many resources. We can say that we live in a social media age and a digital age, but how is that not a valid point when it comes to researching information about reproductive things?
Well, I agree. I want to say is yeah, you're in a place where you can say that, but how many parents are really willing to have that real conversation?
But I'm not everybody else's parent, and that's their responsibility to do as a parent. And so if you're not going to step up and be a parent, then that's not my child's responsibility.
Exactly.
Go ahead, ma'am.
All right. I think what Sam is trying to state that yes, we are in an age of information age. We're dealing with TikTok and things of that nature. However, we're in an age of misinformation because information is so readily accessible. So I definitely agree. It is the parents' personal responsibility to teach their children about the facts of life. The facts of life. Right. But sorry, I had a flashback. However, I do feel since there's such debate within our society about these issues like abortion, I definitely also think that it should be taught within the school system.
And I don't disagree with that. I agree with that.
Mm-hmm. So, and even having input from like the PTA, it should be a multi-pronged thing in order to enrich this child. No, I'm serious. Oh, you're talking about young people, right? Yeah, they pretty much are. They think they know everything. Yes. I was definitely that because within my generation, I went to school with young women that were pregnant at 12. And that's years ago. So I definitely know that it's happening. Dollars and donuts with the exception of COVID. I'm pretty sure that it's happening now where these kids are just that young or maybe even a little bit younger. So from a moral standpoint, I would really hope, or a societal standpoint, that we really need to have these conversations with our children at a young age. and from their local school system, so that way, in order to bring down those levels with that child teen pregnancy.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. I wanted to talk to something that Alex said about abortion shame. Now, I am not on board with people who shame people, period, dot, across the board.
Mm-hmm.
Whether, and caveat to that, the reason why we're not talking about men is because this discussion is not about men.
Mm-hmm.
This discussion is about women.
We'll have to bring that up at some point, but yes.
Yeah, they can do all sorts of things. They can do all sorts of things, but this discussion is about the women because we spend so much time talking about men. This needs to be had strictly based on those who identify as a woman and can give birth. And so I don't agree with abortion shame, but also that's nobody's business what you're doing. If somebody shames you for having an abortion, it's because you gave them that information, because that's a HIPAA violation if they found it out any other kind of way, which is a whole nother set of stories. And so what I will say is that if the people that you may have confided your story in have shamed you in some way, to that I would like to say, and that's to all the people out there on the interwebs, I want to say, I'm sorry that was your experience. Like, because that was somebody that you trusted that probably put you in a position of shame. Now, the politicians, they all may speculate and or can guess, but they don't know you individually. So if you as a person, not Alex, but you as a person had an abortion and then you felt shamed by a politician, that's something that you're dealing with internally based off a choice you made, because that politician doesn't know your name, insert T here, had an abortion, and I'm shaming, insert, and I'm using me, T here, I'm shaming you.
But wouldn't that make
they're making generic statements?
Wouldn't that make people feel isolated though, because they are afraid of being shamed? Like, I think it should be destigmatized to the point where people can share, I had this experience, it was a positive one, or it's a negative one, or it's a neutral one. And the climate of this topic makes it almost impossible for it to be a neutral one.
Right.
Or even positive in ways. So it isolates women. I mean, women are even isolated when it comes to things like miscarriage, which are not choices. And aren't open with that. So I think that in general, healthcare around persons with uteruses is a topic that's so taboo in society that there's always going to be shame involved with that medically. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Why? And I think that's what Alex was talking about.
But I think that's why conversations like this are important. And I also think that it's important to share your experiences within context. As a woman who has had a miscarriage, also suffered from secondary infertility, my daughter that just turned 1 is a rainbow baby. And so I know so many women that didn't have support having gone through miscarriages. My mom didn't have support going through them, and she experienced 3 of them before she had my sister. Some when she was like further along in her pregnancy past the first trimester. And she didn't have that support, right? And so for me, as a person who not only have been around people who experienced it, but I have also experienced it myself, it is something that I openly discuss and openly talk about. But I personally, I don't feel any shame from it. And also, I'm at peace with the situation. When I was going through it, it wasn't easy, but I am not triggered by things the same way I was when I was going through it. And so I say that to say that took a lot of healing internally. However people get to that healing, do you, boo. I got to my healing based off God, right, for me. So then that's going to be something I can speak to. The same talk point about if you so choose to have an abortion, that is your choice. Do I agree with it? No, but my agreement does not pay your bills.
Right.
Biblically, it is incorrect. You should not do it, because ultimately what it is the sacrifice of babies of any kind. Black, white, yellow, green, polka dot, don't care. That's what that is, right? But again, I'm not paying your bills. And so I'm not going to say to you, Megan, you wrong for having an abortion, girl. Not saying Megan had an abortion, internet.
No, it didn't. But
if Megan, if
I
Megan
did,
or somebody did, and they wanted to talk to me about it, it's also not my job as a believer to be like, well, you shouldn't have had an abortion, girl. I'm pretty sure you're already feeling some sort of something, and that's why you want to talk about it. So let me not tell you the wrongness about what you did. Let's talk about your feelings, right? In your eyes, you may be extremely justified. So let's talk about how those things make you feel. We'll get there to what God says about it. But I feel that is a part of the process of healing, right? However you come to your closure, however you hit your I'm at peace about the situation. But I don't agree with anybody saying and just scoffing and turning their head up at you because of a choice or decision that you may have made, whether it was 10 years ago or whether it was last week. Now, again, if you're not a believer, then you don't care about those things. And that's okay with me too.
And so let's also keep in mind, though, like, regardless of your stance, regardless if you're pro-life, pro-choice, this is a type of thing that is hard on anyone that's even considering going through it. So whether making the decision or finding out that you are pregnant is life-changing. If you are not in the position to care for a child, figuring out what to do is hard. It's a burden on you already. I feel for me that I want to get rid of this notion that this isn't something that someone really has to process and go through and like really consider before they make a decision either way. It's hard on anyone to have to do this. And so like I can like, and so what T said like way earlier when we started the topic was, like your soul being sucked away. Like that could be how someone feels for sure after it happens. Like, because that's something very personal. That's something very emotional, and like something that could affect you mentally. Like I understand that, and I agree. Like we don't need to be the one to shame and chastise for someone for making a difficult decision like that. Because yes, it does affect their life. They're the ones that will either have to deal with the burden or the after effects if that's something that they deal with. Because I'm not saying that all people do, but some people might that deal with the effects of making those decisions or making a decision that means I'm going to have this child, I'm going to have to take care of this child, or I'm going to have to give this child for adoption, or do whatever you need to do to make sure this child's taken care of. So like these are not easy decisions to make. It's not easy for anyone. So I know that it's a group of non-binary and identifying women. So we might have to like talk about the men in the situation. Yes, this is a women's issue, but I remember someone had mentioned in the comments, I gotta find it. This is so hard when like I'm not being myself backstage pulling up comments, and I have to be like hosting and pulling up comments.
Right. Ricky, you're doing a great job. Let me just say that.
I appreciate.
Yes, Ricky.
I think we should totally have another like all girls night. Let's
yeah.
Are we gonna have an all ladies talk?
We just
want one so bad.
Like we just need to go ahead and have that and put in the books. But so let's talk about the men in the situation. So like there have been laws made, particularly in like situations where the pregnancy was a result of assault, rape, incest, where the man in the situation was giving full parental rights and could make a choice in the matter as far as like especially if a child is born out of the incident. So what do we think about the men? Like, do men deserve rights in this situation? That's what I'm gonna say. I'm gonna go ahead and say that out there. Do men deserve the rights in this situation? Go ahead. Someone start us off.
Wait, real quick. I got pulled out real quick. Are we?
Yeah.
Was it a situation of rape or incest? Is that
Yeah,
what
I'm
happened,
like,
or was this a regular rape?
Well, it was just an example of
In
like
general.
yes.
Oh, in
Yeah.
general.
Right.
Okay. Go ahead, Joe. My bad. Go ahead.
I'm saying, do men deserve rights in this question? And I'm saying that
Talk it
facetiously. This is me being facetious. Like, that's a meme. Like, men don't deserve rights. But no, that's just a
Sam
phrase.
has an opinion.
Yes, go ahead, Sam.
I just want to say that, I mean, obviously when people make a baby, that's two people, right? You know what I'm saying? So if you're looking at it biologically, yeah, both people have a right in it. You know what I'm saying? But when that man did not put on a condom and chose to shoot the club up,
Come on.
that was
Dang.
his choice.
Oh my God.
That was very graphic.
I'm sorry.
God.
That was
That was
too
too
I say shoot the club up too, Sam.
I'm sorry.
I love it.
That was too graphic. But
No,
I
I'm
say shoot the
kidding.
club
You're
up too,
fine.
Sam. It's okay.
For my
You know we with the
sensibilities.
but you know what? I mean, if we can go back to what I was talking about before, like women literally have 2 to 3 days out of the whole month they can become pregnant. Literally, that's it. So a woman can literally only become pregnant maybe once or twice within, like, for real, a 9 to 10 month cycle. But a man can go out and impregnate 100 women on the right time, and they can have 100 babies. So I guess to the point, what I'm making is, why are we regulating women when men are the one that can really literally go out and impregnate anyone they want to?
Who's making most of the laws?
Okay,
Yeah.
I know. Look, let's be clear.
And also
I know
medical-
why. I know why.
One word.
I know why.
Patriarchy.
Say it.
Thank you.
Asking because I'm illiterate, don't know. I'm saying,
Right.
how can we go and regulate women's bodies when, if we're being real, the people we need to regulate are men, but we can't regulate those men because of government. And
I don't think abortion should be political anyway. I don't think abortion should have. There should be no political standing for abortion. That needs to be something
and if you
on a
really
medical
feel
standpoint.
any type of way about that, why can't you just put on a mask?
So
Okay,
free
but
will.
I'm done.
Free
I'm
will.
done.
Yeah.
I
Okay,
won't be a
I'm
sheep.
done.
Not a sheep.
So
It's not
Ed
a
Rogers
sheep.
commented saying Utah just passed a law that the man has to pay for half the pregnancy. Cool. Okay. Cool.
He can pay for half the abortion then.
Right.
Like,
No.
When?
Yeah,
When do
okay.
they have to pay for half of the pregnancy? And
I'm
when
just-
does the pregnancy stop with the
and
cost
what's
of the
half
child?
the pregnancy? Yeah.
Right.
Like, what does that even
Like,
mean?
Probably half the
This
bill.
is
Probably
not
half the bill.
compensation.
I mean,
And so, and I have to agree with. I think Destiny put up a comment saying no because they don't have to share the brunt of the physical labor of having
Right.
the child. So it's kind of hard to say that you deserve. I think you should deserve for your voice to be heard. But as
Sure.
far
Right.
as this final decision, yeah, we'll have
It's
to
not
lean
your.
to the
It's your.
woman's.
It's not your life risk. It's not your life risk.
Right.
It's a risk
Right,
to
and-
have a child.
yes.
Right.
It is.
And I get it, and Sam, I also get what why you're saying that it should be the focus is on the man. Unfortunately, we live in a patriarchal society, so a man feels like, well, I could just shoot the club up, and do whatever I want because
Right.
I'm a man, and
And-
that's a part of being a man.
And we have to
Right.
get mad. We have to get mad at medical science too, because it hasn't advanced further than just condoms. And somebody made the comment, "Oh, why doesn't we just make every man get a vasectomy? It's reversible." They're only 30% reversible, so it's actually a major medical procedure. Like, I'm not trying to be like men shouldn't have responsibility. I think they should. We should be exploring birth control.
No, they already
Yeah.
did. The men wouldn't take it because they
I
have
know.
the same side effects
We need
as
to.
a woman's.
We need to redo it and be like, well, tough titties, guys. Like, you have to do it. Like,
and then furthermore, it goes into, there's men out there that that lie to women and say that they have a condom on even though they don't have it
All
on. So
the
what makes you
time.
think? And so what? And also even within the the LGBT community, because with a lot of gay men, they have the pill where you take in order to prevent HIV. They'll lie about that too, just to get in order to get the bans. So unfortunately, even if you have those products readily available with the male birth control pill, they're probably going to lie and say I did it and actually didn't.
And
Right.
because the burden ultimately isn't on them, like you're saying.
Right.
Not.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's not, because they can shoot the club up and disappear. I've
So
seen it happen.
that's why.
Praise.
That's why
Praise.
pro-choice
That's
is
gonna
so
be the phrase
important.
of the night.
Pro-choice is
Yeah.
important because the burden is on the person with the uterus. Just that's how it
Yeah.
goes.
And that's how it goes every time.
Mhm.
So
I do agree with T. I do feel like it needs to fall on being better informed in the information age. I do know that, I get that not everybody has, internet access, but it does fall on the responsibility to be informed, and we should be on both sides, pro-life and pro-choice, pushing for better education, regulations, and regiments within, especially in schools for kids, because I'm just even thinking about my own experiences. Like, I remember, I think literally between K through 12, I only had one class about sex, and it was one day, and we went off campus for it, and I couldn't tell you nothing from that. They showed me pictures of like chlamydia and gonorrhea, and
I remember there being a stuffed animal that looked like a
Wow.
sperm. There was a stuffed animal that looked like a sperm, and they called him Spermy the sperm. And I was like,
but there was, and there was talk, of course, of either this is what happens when you have sex. You have the potential to get an STD, you have the potential to get an STI, and you have the potential to get pregnant.
and they should talk
you
about
should
consent. They should talk about consent.
Right. They don't
You
talk
should be
about those things.
You should be comfortable with who you're with. You should be trusting them. Like, all of those things should be talked about.
Right, yeah, because Logan Paul just had sexual allegations against him about
Who?
consent. Logan Paul, the famous TikToker or what? Not TikToker. Excuse
Oh,
me.
yeah,
He was the
yeah.
famous
YouTuber.
Vine. He
The
just had a
dead guy.
recent allegation.
Yeah.
the
Okay.
goof.
I'm not surprised.
And which he's categorically denied. So these are all alleged. However, it does allegedly, the young woman went into his room, and she thought it was just going to be a heavy pet and kissing, and he kind of kicked it up a notch, and she didn't consent to that. So
that too.
You better wear the flower bow, little girl.
Absolutely right.
I'm sorry, y'all.
But
It's all
I'm sorry, I got distracted.
We all
with
did.
Destiny's comments. But just to wrap that up real quick, we definitely, as a society, need to start having these conversations, because otherwise, I don't know how many more generations that are we going to take of, oh, well, he's older. He's from an older generation. He doesn't know any better. No, sir, no, ma'am.
That's not an excuse.
Right. Going back to the day. Yeah, going back to the days of the sexual harassment with Anita Hill case. That happened in 1991.
Yeah.
That was 30 years ago this year.
Right.
It's
if you're from an older generation, then you've been here long enough to see the change and understand why these things are not okay.
Exactly.
Like that's an awful excuse to use. Oh, they're from an older generation. Okay,
they should have never been okay. They should have never been
okay. So they weren't watching the news. They weren't keeping up with the times. Like, y'all don't pay attention to what's going on in the world. Like,
or even with younger guys now, they're saying, "Well, I don't know how to talk to women now." So I'm like, so you basically mean to tell me that you had to damn near rape a woman in order
you had to assault someone to get some attention?
Like, I'm so confused by that.
Right,
but
I'm still concerned here. I'm
I'm
a little
disturbed
by
women have
that.
become the more active aggressor in dating. Not when I was growing up, but that is a thing that I have deducted from talking to people of younger generations, and the difference between dating in New Mexico and dating like in Georgia.
Yeah,
and she said
I get.
I mean, it's been a while since I've dated, so I don't know.
It ain't nothing changing it. Okay. Let me tell you. They still doing the same stuff that they was doing when I was in high school. When I was there, nothing. Women are more vocal. I will say that now. I don't know about other places because I haven't dated in different states. You know, I need to. Lord help me.
Hey, they got an app for that.
The closest state to me right now is Alabama.
It's weird.
I don't need.
I have a fear of being chopped up and put in the wall somewhere, so I don't do apps.
Oh my God! Well, that's why you Google them and make sure that information get out to your that one person you have in your life. You know,
right? Thank you. You better send the information to somebody. His car tag, phone number.
Share your location. Share your location on Google.
Steal his wallet and take a picture of his license. There you go.
But can I just add to that, like the fact that
that's even locally.
I mean, the fact that we even have to do that. So, like, I was talking to literally a man just the other day, and hold on 1 second. And like, I don't feel like male privilege exists. And I was like, do you feel safe walking to your car in the middle of the night if you're in a parking lot by yourself? Like, if you enter an elevator at night by yourself, do you feel like you are worried about who's entering the elevator with you? Like, I get it, you know, the privilege exists because the people who have it don't understand it. But it's like, you know, a lot of men don't even understand, like, there is a male privilege that exists.
And that's BS because let's face it, I'm not even a man, and I know male privilege exists because everywhere I go, even with these big old mammarines that I have on my chest, I still get misgendered all the time. They're like, "Excuse me, sir."
Mammarines.
I do. Hey, I'm telling you, I do, and it's on a regular basis. It just happened yesterday, and she happened to look down like, "Oh, I'm sorry, ma'am," and I'm like. And I'll tell people, you know, it's okay. It's not that, you know, I'm not that pressed when it comes to, you know, my personal identity, my own personal identity. But, you know, it is important to other people. So I do want to stress that.
Yeah.
But with that being stated, male privilege is real. I've seen it all the time. You know, I use it to my advantage at times, and you know, I hate to, and sometimes I feel guilty about it. But these are the things that I have to do, that I feel I have to do, because I do a very dangerous job for a living. I am a truck driver by trade. So when I'm out in the world, yes, I'm going to have a more masculine stride, and I may wear more layers. So you may not necessarily think that I'm, you know, my gender or my sex is female, because you can easily get taken advantage of in that particular manner. Because I mean, not to say that, you know, I mean, I do got a pretty face. However,
hey, let us know.
Yes. I do serve face, serve natural face. Come on,
come on.
Yes, because you know the good black don't crack. But right, so you have this there are certain guys out there that will try to take advantage, and so that's, you know, that's kind of why well, other than it's natural for me, but I kind of rely on it more so as well, due to the fact that it's a means of protection when I'm out in the world.
Literally, I was talking to this dude, and he's a black male. I was talking to this dude the other day. He's a little bit older, and he was talking to me about how, you know, he banks at this same bank all the time, right? So normally he pulls into the bank and goes in and does his thing. And he always kind of felt like there was like this underlying tension, but no one said nothing to him. And so he didn't really understand what was going on. Well, then he pulled up with his daughter, because he's in his 50s. So he pulled up with his daughter, who's grown. And the daughter was like, "Dad, I can't go in there. They have signs everywhere saying that you need an appointment." And he was like, "No, I go in there all the time. You don't have to worry about that. Just go in there," right? So the daughter goes in there, and, you know, as she's going through this process, she starts realizing how serious they are about like these appointment signs, right? So she comes out and she's like, "I don't know what you're talking about, but they are very serious about their appointment signs, and they're not going to service me because I'm a woman and I'm not following the signs." And he, as a man, is like, he doesn't believe in male privilege because he's a black man. So basically his daughter told him, you're getting service in here because you're a man, and they're not going to tell you that they can't service you. But as a woman, they're going to tell me that they can't service me. And that's exactly what happened. And even as his daughter is experiencing this, he's telling me, like, I don't believe in male privilege. I don't think that the bank will service me because I'm a man, despite all these signs. And my daughter goes in there and she doesn't get the same service. And I'm
How old is he,
like,
Sam?
huh?
How old is he?
In his 50s.
Well, see, then he should be old enough to remember that in the 70s, that women weren't allowed to get their own checking accounts until the 70s.
Right.
So,
Girl, so look,
and credit cards.
I ain't even have to go into that. My point to him is, just like racism, as a black man, if anybody of color is being like, this is racist, or this is what's going on, this is how I'm feeling, a person of white descent who does not have those challenges, what can we really say? Like, honestly. So I think in general, whether you believe in feminism or sexism or racism or whatever, the truth of the matter is there is a segment of our population that is getting discriminated against, whether it's based on color, whether it's based on sex, whether it's based on religion, for whatever reason, in whatever part of time. There is a segment of our population that is getting discriminated against. So instead of saying, as the majority, whether you're a black man or not, you're still a man, are you saying, well, let me examine this? Or are you saying, oh, that doesn't exist, I've never experienced it, so let me just keep moving? And that is what I challenge to him. And even what I challenge to white people. Y'all know me, I've been on racial topic panels before too. Anybody that I think was born in America, if you're born in America, you're born to be socialized racist, because that's how our country works. So whether it's sexism or racism or whatever the ism you want to call it, at the end of the day, it is happening. And you, as the majority, whether you're a majority male or a majority white person or a majority Christian, or like whatever the majority is, when you're challenged with the narrative of, hey, your majority group is oppressing this minority group, and instead of just saying, okay, let me just at least explore that and see if that's true, versus, no, fuck that, that's not real, that's not true, that's not happening, you're part of the problem.
All right, so on that note, we're going to go to do one more commercial break, and then we're going to head into final thoughts. So let's get to it.
Catch me outside, girl. Basically,
how about that?
So apparently she made a post that said, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do that shit nasty or something like that. And she decided to open her OnlyFans. Her OnlyFans broke the record because she made $1 million in 6 hours.
Good for that queen. Yes.
Child, like, good for you for making that money. And I'm like, listen, if I could do one good fuck video and make $1 million, bitch.
But you know what? What does it say about the people, the men? Well, people.
I go back and forth. This is why I go back and forth.
Because like, I know there was some nasty 55-year-old men that there was like, oh.
All right, that was a snippet and a very
juicy,
very juicy
right?
And raunchy snippet of.
That was a Sip and Kiki, honey.
That was some Sip and Kiki, our news podcast that airs every Sunday after Married to Medicine. So this is your pop culture reality TV show hotspot. So when you're done watching your Real Housewives of Atlanta and Married to Medicine, get to your computer real quick at 10 o'clock and watch them Sip and Kiki with
or
Mo.
Phone.
Yes, or phone. With our lovely Mo and Duryea and Tristan every Sunday at 10 o'clock.
Vibes. That's in my Tristan voice.
Right.
Because that's a Sip and Kiki, honey.
That is Sip and Kiki. Yes. So we're going to head into our final thoughts now. I guess Sam had to go because I guess Sam's comment was her final thoughts. So final
Yes, it
thoughts
was.
is yes. So final thoughts is going to be our time where we either give our what we took away from this entire conversation, whether it's current events or our main topic, or what you want the audience to leave with. So let's start with Megan.
Okay. I mean, what I took from this conversation is a lot of people from all opinions and walks of life definitely want there to be less shame, more education, more discussions about this. Don't make it so taboo. And my final thoughts are, I agree with Alex in that it shouldn't really be political. It should be between a person who has to make the decision and their doctor, and that's that. It should be that way. That's my final thought.
All right. So this is Megan. So Megan, you can find her on Instagram at Chris Smashfish.
Christmas, like it's a play on the word Christmas.
Yes.
Because like with Noel.
You know, I am such a slow person. I'm sorry.
No.
Okay, but also, so it's CRISPMASFISH.
And my website,
yes.
festiveandfrugal.com.
Yes, festiveandfrugal.com. And hopefully we'll get to see more of you and see you cooking more online soon. So hopefully that'll start happening soon. All right, Alex, Matt, final thoughts.
I feel like I took away from this conversation, and I was happy to see that people from both sides of the verses, even though I don't really feel like it's a verses, we feel the same way about it. We might different in our our ways of getting there, but we both feel that it's a woman's issue, and that the education for it is lacking. So I would like to hopefully have everybody listening and watching to go out and educate yourself on what's going on in your state with abortion, or your region with abortion, or your county, and also talk to other females in your life about abortion, so that it does not seem like such a shameful secret if somebody they have abortion or want an abortion or whatever. Just communicate, talk to them, understand them a little bit more, and support them, because they all need support, whether they get the abortion or not. They're gonna need your support, and I want to see more of that coming out of this.
Absolutely. All right. Where can we find you, Alex? Do you have?
Oh my gosh.
I don't think I got
I'm
that.
just kidding. It's cool. It's just Alex, just JUST_A1EX, because there's just me. I'm the one else. Please go watch my YouTube, my Finding You series. When Flirting with Destiny hits the airwaves, I want everybody out there supporting that too. Okay. I'm also down for another all-female sketch show, all-female podcast, all-female group panel, any of it. I'm there for all of it.
Yes,
absolutely.
All-female group panel, talk it out.
Ooh.
Yes.
Make it happen.
So thank you for bringing up Flirting with Destiny. So if you have not already, please take the time to donate to our GoFundMe. We are we're about $2,000 in on our goal, and we want to make sure that we can pull this off, because we want to be able to start filming this summer. Like,
we will take all your money.
Right, like we are filming in May. Y'all.
I'm writing on episode 3 as well. So.
I'm
part of it.
Yeah.
Just wait. You're gonna catch Mo in there too. She don't know it yet.
So if you have not already, make sure you take the time to donate to our GoFundMe. So that's flirting Destiny.
There you go. Right at the bottom.
Yes, GoFundMe.com/F/flirting with Destiny. Yes, I'm tongue-tied. So, help us get this ball rolling. All right. Thank you, Miss Alex Max. Miss Positivity. Give us your final thoughts.
There's
that
a
baby. What did you do to that baby?
Please, not please.
Did
No,
you pinch
I
that
kicked
baby?
her out. I kicked her out so I could do this, and she was like, "Excuse me."
Excuse you for real though. Like
Right.
you gonna have to post up now. Don't do her
And
like
despite that, I'm still pro-life.
And that's valid.
My deepest sympathy and utmost respect all at the same time, honey.
Yeah.
Respectfully, yes.
What I took from this conversation is that again, there we have to be more responsible for our own individual learning. And that's for a lot of things. She is not with it, and I apologize. Just cut it
It's
up.
all
She
right.
I hate
It's
you do
all
that
right,
to that.
honey.
I'm so mad you did that to that baby.
I'm so mad. She would have been talking if I would have had her in here. She would
And
have
that's fine. She had final thoughts
She had something to
too.
say. She had
She had
something to
final
say.
thoughts too. Dang. Sorry.
I want us to be I want us to be responsible for our own personal learning and not always necessarily leaving it up to somebody else to inform and or educate us about things. Just because we live in a day and age where even if your resource is not the internet, libraries are still readily accessible and available, and there are reputable sources and places that we can gather information, and then from there we can take that information and decide how much of it to apply to our lives or help us better make informed decisions. I also would hope that we not necessarily, again, I try to be very careful in my wording because I am not a representative for every single person that identifies as a Christian and or a believer. But what I am is a representative of myself and my beliefs. And like I said, my inbox is open. If you have experiences that you want to talk about, I'm not here to judge you. But if you're my friend and you ask me, should I do it? I'm going to tell you no. But if you need to talk, because I don't agree with that, but if you need to talk about whatever your life experiences are, my inbox is always open to give you a non-judgmental ear, despite what my beliefs are. My objective is to help you find healing in whatever situation that you're going through. And so I pray that somebody took something out of this. And again, my inbox is still open if you would like to get to know Jesus as your Lord and Savior.
Altar call. Altar call. Yes. All right. Thank you, T.
Let me go get her.
Go get that baby. Quit playing, Mo. All right. Final thoughts, Mo.
Hi, everybody. Good evening. Good evening. And I do want to thank Tia at the Church of Talk It Out for giving that wonderful introduction.
Well,
Just giving a quick final thoughts for the benediction, since the word has been given, and so I'm not going to belay the hour. So, all right, for real though. It's refreshing to have a conversation where it's not people aren't screaming over each other, mostly, uh, but you know, uh, uh, this has become way too politicized. It really should be something where it's in a doctor's office or an examination room with that particular person that has the universe. Period. It's really numbing, even though I'm still gobsmacked sometimes, how much of agenda that has been pushed with this issue. Um, which ironically they like to say there's a gay agenda. No, honey, there's an evangelical agenda, but that's all right though. We still gonna make it through. And as well as I kind of agree with T, but I'm not gonna sit here and tell you no, honey, because whatever you have to do, I can't put. There's no heaven and hell I can put you in. And furthermore, I'm not gonna tell you no, because at the end of the day, if you decide to not do it because I told you no, I'm not babysitting them kids. I'm just letting you know that right now, because I am team F them kids. I am going on a trip on the weekend. I ain't got time to babysit no babies.
How you supposed to be Auntie Mo and then
I'm the
F them
favorite
kids?
auntie, but I'm not babysitting them kids. I'm gonna slide them a little money in their pocket or in their hand and tell them, make sure you don't tell your mama or your daddy, okay? And I'm your favorite auntie. So you look, go to the movies with it. Go get you some condoms with it if you need to. But I'm just telling the truth. I'm not babysitting no babies. They got to be old enough to be able to be potty trained on their own. You need to go to the bathroom. Okay, the bathroom right over there. Okay, all right. I'm letting you know, honey. Hey, that's the type of auntie I am. I'm just being transparent. But I mean, on the serious tip though, again, I'm thankful that my mother made the decision to have me, and I really wish that we lived in a society where there's no shame coming from whatever decision that you decide to make, because at the end of the day, that is your life, and that's something that you have to deal with your own higher power with. And those are my final thoughts with that. Also, after you finish donating to Flirting with Destiny, make sure that you run across my cash app. No donation is too small. You can catch it at cash app with the dollar sign MOE SMITH P as in Paul. Yes, Lord. We all know about Paul. RO. Make sure hey, show some
He
love
wrote
to
no
your
man.
favorite. Show
Hey,
some love to your favorite auntie, because
I'm
somebody
so
got to
done.
put that $20 in your baby's pocket. Okay.
How you supposed to?
Don't be.
How could you give? How could they give money to babies if you don't give them money to give to the babies?
I'm so
I,
done.
Well, look, listen. I said, that way I can slide a little money,
Right.
to maintain the image of, the favorite auntie. And there's nothing wrong with that. I love the babies. They just not for me, honey. I'm like Angelica Houston for the witches. Ooh,
I'm
you got, you
done.
got.
Come on, bitches. That's a good movie. Sorry.
All right, so I guess it's my turn
Babies,
now.
babies.
So thank you, Mo. Thank you to all our panelists for joining us tonight. It was a fun night.
Yes.
I really enjoyed this, and I'm
Yeah.
hoping we can do something like this again. So, final thoughts. This is a personal decision, and it's heart wrenching, and it's burdensome for anyone, either way that you choose, because you
Yes.
are making a choice one way or another.
Mm-hmm.
You are either choosing to give birth or you're choosing not to. Um, Regardless of the situation, and it's a difficult decision for everyone. I'm glad that this conversation was with all of us, and it wasn't necessarily a versus. Yes, we had people on opposite ends, but it was I think we all come into the agreement that it is a personal choice, and that choice can be hard for anyone to make, and that it's not something that we need to shame others for, because they might already be feeling that shame themselves without your help. So let's not add to that. Let's get them to the point, like T said, to healing and being there for them and supporting them in whatever decision they make, in a way that they are be able to move on, or to better function in the world. So I want to thank you guys all again. You can find me, Ricky Z, on Instagram at Ricky_Z, so RICKEY, and on Twitter at @_Ricky Z. So let me go ahead and say all the things. Yes. Welcome. Talk It Out is a place where people of opposing views can get together and have a healthy and productive dialogue in a respectful way, keeping in mind that it's not always about proving who's right and who's wrong. Sometimes it's simply about listening and being heard. Now, before we go, though, if you want to be a panelist on Talk It Out, make sure you email us at, if I can find it, because this is hard to do by myself, admin admin at wonellymedia.com. Make sure you like and share and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Share this video on your Facebook page. We want to spread the love and grow this Nelly Media family. But again, thank you all so much for this wonderful conversation, and have a beautiful night. Let me find this ending video, y'all. Where was I? Here we go. Bye, y'all.